You say goodbye while he says hello. Wonder if he's a Beatles fan. Here's a look at McFarlane Toys, DC Multiverse, DC Classics, Bizarro. Bizarro is a Frankenstein-like monster with a heart of gold. Although he was originally created by Lex Luthor, he has gone on to prove that he has more moral character far superior to that of his mad scientist father. Possessing many of Kryptonian abilities, albeit warped and twisted, this heroic clone of Superman fights for truth, justice, and the Bizarro way. So if you thought this review was bad, you're talking like Bizarro, right? Everything's opposite, right? Right? Let's take, though, the tape measure. Let's see how tall the DC Classics Bizarro stands. I found this, hey, on the Facebook selling group from Popeye the Toy Man. Boop, 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 boop. Your name might not be Simon. You're certainly not visiting a pie man, but you can still check out his wares. The figure's going to stand, though, at 7 inches in height, or DC Classics Bizarro is 17.5 centimeters tall. One thing I find bizarre, though, is that they chose to use Skip Leg Day Superman as the basis for Bizarro's body. It's a fine thing for Superman, but considering now that we have a better Kal-El, I feel, with the Silver Age release, and that if he's the clone of Superman, I would have rather they used this body of Superman instead going back to the basics. Speaking of going back to the basics, they're going back to the basics of the traditional display stand being used. I know, again, we always get these display stands with the DC Multiverse figures. If you've been collecting as much as I have, then you have a good stack of these. These are impossible, though, to stack. I mean, as good as you can try, you can never balance them because, again, there's always that one neighboring peg. That blasted peg would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for that peg. This can obviously plug into the bottom of either one of Bizarro's feet. You can't have both, though, so you have to, unless you really had 2 display stands and then you just, split his legs, but then that would just be ridiculous. Who's displaying their figures with 2 display stands? Oh, there's somebody in the back. You have a question, sir? Oh, no, you're agreeing with the fact that you use 2 display stands. Anyways, though, yeah, the DC logo is still branded down below here. Just a regular traditional black display stand. Let's move it off to the side. The figure does also come included with a trading card. Now, I like that this trading card is more of a classic Silver Age Bizarro. I mean, we've gotten a couple of Bizarros from Todd and his team. I should have actually brought in a couple of them. We've also got a Bat-Zarro. A Bat-Zarro, by the way, 2-pack. I never got the chance to pick that one up. I know there was a few little issues with the molding, but now we got ourselves sort of more of a classic look to Bizarro and a classic card to go with that as well. Now, if you like the look, though, of Bizarro having a Bizarro #1 little necklace there on the front of his chest, don't worry, don't fear. He also has that, well, it was over here. I was pointing over at his hands. He has it right over there. The back, though, of the card, basically just giving us the basics on Bizarro, that he's a Frankenstein clone. Though they depicted on the back of the card that he's more of a hero, just a misunderstood monster. I kind of really always like the idea of Bizarro being just bad. Just like a bad Bizarro. He thinks he's doing well, but just in the process of doing good, he ends up doing bad. Nice looking card, though. Let's move that off to the side. The figure does also come include some swappable hands. It's interesting, though, enough that he has actually a gripping hand on one side and a closed fist on the other. If you don't like either one of those, offers are available. The figure does also have, not plotting hands, come on, Bizarro's adult, but he does also have a couple of flat hands. Those hands, though, can be swapped out. So basically, you're just going to hold onto the forearm, pop it off the peg. Boy, that is easy. It is. It's kind of easy. Take then the new hand that you want to use, plug it back in place. Now, even though everything's backwards, I wouldn't really recommend the idea of putting the wrong hand, because if you put the wrong hand on, then yes, everything will be backwards. Well, at least his thumb will be upside down. Still, it's strange, really, that he has a gripping hand. It almost really suggests the idea that he should be gripping something. I suppose if he doesn't have this around his neck, you could have him gripping his necklace. What necklace are you talking about? It's looking like it may have come from Bedrock. He has himself Bizarro #1. Some may argue that point. I don't know if Bizarro would be considered really #1, but if you ask him, he certainly thinks #1. #1. The actual necklace is all molded here in gray plastic. It has a rope there on the, well, it's not looking like it's tied really to anything. I don't know how he actually, I guess there's holes on the front, yet though there's no knots on the back. We're going to really spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out how Bizarro made his necklace. I'm sure you're more concerned with the idea does it go around his head, and it does. Fits fine. I mean, it's a little loose, obviously. It's a little bit of space available there. Or, again, probably one of the reasons why they chose to have a gripping hand. If Bizarro wants to take off his medallion that he's made, he can just have that fitting in his hand like that. And he's like, ooh, Bizarro made this? Bizarro has a short-term memory. Yeah, again, I guess it's okay. He has himself a gripping hand, even though the only other thing I can really think of, Kryptonite would have been perfect thing to include with Bizarro. Is he, I'm trying to think, is he weak against Kryptonite? I think he is. No, he's not. Is he? Let me know. Let me know down below. In the meantime, though, let's get a closer look at Bizarro's face. I like it. I think it's personally a good-looking head sculpt for Bizarro. The other one that we had gotten before, the first Bizarro, had actually a shaved head. I don't know where that Bizarro ended up. Certainly, though, it wasn't on my shelf. This would be one that's going to go on my shelf because it's a classic look to the character. Still, though, I mean, many would look at this and think, well, why would you have chosen to use Action Comics mold? Not that you're asking me, you're probably asking Todd McFarlane. Why would you have chose to use the Action Comics body when we already have a stellar-looking Superman body with the Silver Age release? Because of that, of course, this Bizarro is using the exact same torso, same arms, same lower legs, same boots. One thing that is different, though, is that the emblem, the Superman S, as backwards as it may be, is not sculpted. Superman's was sculpted, the number of releases that we've gotten of this figure, yet Bizarro doesn't actually have that. I didn't really like initially that this was all done in metallic red. I think I've kind of more warmed up to it now. Yeah, it doesn't really it's not really the same red or yellow for that matter as Trunks, but the fact that we do have ourselves a backward S on a classic Bizarro, that's A-okay in my books. Again, I really think the head sculpt is fantastic on Bizarro. It does just the right thing of delivering a not quite carbon copy of Superman. It's sort of like the copier after a while with a toner. You got to clean the toner, or you have to change it up. Or after a while, the toner's sort of telling you got to change me because it's just sort of leaving marks all over your photocopies. That's the equivalent of Bizarro here. He's sort of a flawed photocopy of Superman just before you change the toner. I do think he's got a nice little chiseled chin. I think he's also really well painted too. Adding these little dark airbrushed areas on his cheek and the top of his forehead adds a lot of personality to the figure's face. Yes, they probably made him look more like a dolt, but I think in the end, though, we've got ourselves a really nice looking Bizarro. I like the coloring of the gray that they chose. And I think even like using a lighter blue like this for his costume works the part really well. Now, if you're expecting a backwards S on the back of his cape, you'll be happy to know as well, he does have that. So where's the Superman? This really wouldn't be the best Superman. There's a cloth version of Superman I really probably should have brought in for this review. But yeah, having a backwards S is the nice finishing touches you need on a figure like this. It's also nice that they finished the cape with a wire on the sides. There's no wire on the bottom. I don't think it really ever needs it either. But just a wire on the side is more than enough. Here he goes with a very lame curl. So if you want to get a pose going for the cape, you can easily do that with the wire they've sewn in place. Yeah, for the overall, even though I kind of would look at this and think, I don't really think an Action Comics Superman would have been the best choice. But, to be fair, prior to the Silver Age release, this was really my go-to Superman. I think it's still one of the better-looking head sculpts we've gotten. So is it really that bad of an idea that they chose that for the body of Bizarro? Some would maybe say yes. I would say I'm on the fence, to be honest. I'm still on the fence. I like the body. I think, honestly, though, they probably could have also gotten away with using the Silver Age Superman as the makings for that mold. Just because also, again, if you chose to make this being your go-to Superman, then the Bizarro, unfortunately, is going to come up quite short, literally. For the articulation, though, for Bizarro, his head is, all of it is really going to be Action Comics Superman. Head's going to be on the ball joint, so it allows the head to rotate all the way around. It looks up, only that far. It looks down, yeah. It also moves back and forth. Tell us more, Magic Storyteller. Well, the fact that the figure has upper torso ball joint, he has lower abdomen ball joint. The arms rotate all the way around. No issues there. No issues. You can bring those arms out 90 degrees, although this one got a little hung up. 90-degree angle bend, or that T pose. The figure does also have a bicep swivel. Now, one thing, unfortunately, by using an outdated figure, I don't want to say outdated. Outdated is probably not the best way to describe it. But by using a figure, though, that's a little older, it means also that Bizarro sadly gets only just a single hinge in his elbow. No double hinges this time around. Actually, that would be fair. This other Superman did also have a double hinge on the elbow. Some thought it looked a little uglier, though, because you had visible pegs on the sides and a lot longer of an area where, of course, that elbow would bend. I don't mind it. Some people don't really like that. So if you don't like that, at least this Superman has a cleaner, Bizarro Superman, has a little cleaner of a forearm. Hands rotate, yes, they do, all the way around. There's a hinge back and forth there as well. Did we show the legs? Not the legs yet. Legs split out, just like that. You can take the legs. They go forward, they go back. Yeah, they do. They don't go back as far as you would hope, though. Not that you're going to have wide running. Actually, you could have them still in a running pose. There's a swivel at the top of the thigh, just only by a little bit. Double hinge on the knee. No articulation here, my friends, just because, again, that's all one sculpting. If you're looking at this and you're looking at this, would you believe the two are together? That's all one mold right there. Right there. I don't know what that was going on. Hinge, yes, in the foot. An ankle rocker, and the figure does also have toe articulation as well. I'm still not sure, though, how I feel about using the Action Comics body. You know, on one end, though, it's a good-sized Superman. You know, again, if you're looking at, unfortunately, like his legs aren't as muscular. It's one of those Superman that unfortunately just misses leg day. You know, by contrast to that, had they used maybe this Superman, not only do you have the muscular torso, but you have an equally proportioned muscular lower leg as well. The thing about that, though, is a lot of people may still go to their Action Comics Superman as their definitive Superman. I still think it's one of the best Superman head sculpts we still have gotten. If that is your definitive Superman, then yes, at least for a flawed carbon copy of the Man of Steel, at least you got yourself a Bizarro that has the same body. It's entirely your personal opinion. On one end, though, I kind of really wish that he could have used the larger body of the Silver Age Superman. On the other end, though, I mean, you know, that's not a bad Superman. At least it wasn't using the Hush Superman. I think we can all kind of agree that's a body that needs to really, really be retired. To his praise, at least, the paint's done really well for Bizarro's face. He has a fabric cape, so that's another positive point. And everything is backwards in Bizarro's world, so obviously he has not only the backwards S on the front of his chest, but spin him around, yeah, as we saw in this review. He does also have a backwards S on the back of his cape. And having that on the back of his cape is just, again, the finishing touches for a much better looking Bizarro than maybe the ones we've gotten in the past. Ooh, Bizarro like Bizarro #1 necklace. Not only would I agree that I like the necklace, I like the figure that goes with the necklace as well. While it is, yes, using the Action Comics Superman body, he's missed leg day, he's a little leaner in the legs. Bizarro seems to work with that mold, even though it's going to be a little bit smaller if you're planning to display him along with the Silver Age Superman, which initially I was going to do that. I might just end up, though, displaying Bizarro with the rest of the bad guys for soups, even though we really don't have a whole lot of them. We really need, I know it's fine to get Superman and your Batmans and stuff like that. We need definitely to get more villains, Todd McFarlane. You know, Bizarro, I would more consider him to be a villain than a good guy. We definitely need to have, especially with Superman, his rogues list isn't as fun maybe as the Cape Crusaders, but I think there's certainly enough villains out there. We definitely need more figures to go along with Bizarro. One thing that also really works for this figure is that the paint application on the figure's face is fantastic. Bizarro, we can all admit, his elevator doesn't go to the top floor. He isn't as much of an idiot in the head sculpt, but one thing that's really good though for the figure is his chalk white exterior is only accented by these dark gray areas that they've added to the chin, the cheeks, and the top of his forehead. He is definitely one of the better looking painted figures that we've gotten. Not on top of that though, the figure does also have a wire built into his fabric cape. You got to think though that if Bizarro was released a couple of years ago, he probably would still be relegated to the same plastic cape that his original body had as well. What do you guys think of Bizarro? Let me know down below in the comments section. Worth picking up, or do you think he's a pass? If you guys did also enjoy this video, you can do it a solid, throw it a like. Now that's a like. We're not going to be opposite on Bizarro and hit this video with a dislike. But if you guys certainly did want to stick around for more so, and I hope so, hit the bell notification. And of course, also make sure I would imagine that you've already subscribed, but let's just say, back that up just a bit. Burp, burp, burp. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, maybe do that thing first, then move on to the bell notification so you get those reminders every single time a new video pops up. Hey now, speaking of popping up, at the very end of also this video will be popping up a playlist. Feel free to go back and have a look at all the other DC Multiverse reviews that I've done for Todd and his team. There's quite a lot of them, but feel free. I mean, there's a playlist. That's what it's there for. Give that a gander, and just know as well that there's going to be more DC Multiverse reviews in the pipeline coming your way. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.